What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And over the last 3 years, we've reached out to over 300,000 fathers directly and indirectly worldwide. And also, just give me a quick second here. I want to do something. All right, now we can go. I'm a featured content contributor to the Fly Nubian Queen YouTube network, which has over 581,000 subscribers. Fly Nubian Queen, where Black women have a voice, which is run by Dr. Boyce and Dr. Aisha Watkins. Thank you so much. And also, coming up, you know what? I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to show you a new network that we're going to have this show featured on. So I'm going to run that quick promo right now. So for those who may or may not know, a lady who drops in a lot in the comments and sometimes via the screen, Dr. Tachi, she is launching indiesoupmedia.tv on March 25th, 2024. And edited versions of this conversation, this show, will be on that platform once a week. So another place that we are going to be featured, this show, especially the ladies of the show. I'm just a guy, I just hang out on that platform. And that platform has a reach of over 1 million people. So think about it. Indie Soup Media, reach of 1 million people. Fly Nubian Queen, 580,000 people. And before that, I was blessed to have a reach of over 3 million people. So that's a lot of reach out there. So I just want to say thank you, Dr. Tachi. And again, thank you, Dr. Boyce and Dr. Aisha. And before we go any further, I'll let the ladies rock a little bit because when they come on, it's all theirs. I'm just steering ship. They're driving it. As always, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. Hit the notification button. Also, follow the Dr. Vibe Show on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And also, if you want to subscribe your business, product, or service on this platform, because there's a lot of reach, please feel free to email me at dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. All right, it's about that time. Here we go. It's Aisha and LaLa time. What's going on, ladies?
Hey.
What's up?
What's not up this week? Oh my gosh.
I think every week that's the thing. We can't keep up. I mean, every day is a new thing.
It's just up. Everything's up. Everything's up. How has the week been?
Beautiful.
The week has been so stressful. I was having seizures Sunday and Monday.
Oh.
Ouch. But I think
Aisha's battling her body.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Yeah, what's going on with you in the battle of the body thing? What's up?
I don't know, but I thought I lost something that was very important to me, sent my anxiety through the roof, and I had seizures, and then my because that's how my seizure disorder is triggered. And then come to find out it was here, but in different places. I thought I lost all of the stuff of my daughter from when she was a baby, because I have a big box, and I could not find it at all. I thought that before we moved last year, I thought I left it at the old apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter's like, no, I have this sweater over here. Oh, by the way, I have the photo albums in my room. And I was like my anxiety went
way down.
Well, the conversation Sunday with my sister is that my daughter's graduating from UConn in May.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so I'm just kind of like nostalgic right now. I'm like, what happened to my little baby?
I know.
And she's
turn around and they're grown.
Right. So
they're grown and they're out of the house.
And she got into graduate school. So she's like,
wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Another large congratulations. That's fantastic.
Yes, she wants to be a dietitian for diabetic patients and bariatric patients.
Actually,
I love it.
Actually, she should speak with There's a lady who comes on another show that I host periodically called The Morning Vibe, which is on 9 a.m. on Monday. Oh, you've been on there. And once a month, it's a lady named Carolyn Nicole, who's a certified holistic nutritionist. And she's very much saying the best way to get diabetes and all that down, lots of fruits and vegetables on water. And she was talking about something the other day that when you eat it, it's just like alcohol. She said like when you have sugar, it's basically having alcohol. And a lot of times when kids have too much sugar, well, she says the reason why is the sugar turns into alcohol and their brain can't handle. And same thing, there's a lot of sugar in alcohol itself, like drinks and things like that.
Well, the alcohol that they use in drinks is sugar.
There you go.
Yes.
So she was saying that, and I've done she's helped me a little bit, and I put myself on a scale, and I've worked with her for a little bit over the last year, and I've dropped about 15 pounds in the last year. So
wow.
I want to
see little things make a big difference.
Yeah.
The little things. Yeah. So when I get up in the morning, I have my water, I have my 2 fruits every morning, and before I eat any serious meal, I always have salad before it.
And see, my daughter does all the cooking.
There you go.
I
love a chef. Yeah,
she does all the cooking. So ever since she was probably like 15, we kind of switched over roles. But she does good in terms of meal planning. She's worked with children before that. She did an internship with little kids and teaching them about healthy eating habits. So this is really her lane. She enjoys it and she's really good at it.
Excellent.
That's great.
That's fantastic. But I think you two plus another person had a highlight this past week.
We did.
Oh, thank you. Hold on. Before we go any further, of course, hello, Jen Myers, fan number 1. Look at where Gina puts her. Hello, LaLa, your hair looks so flirty. I've never heard hair looking flirty and feminine.
Thank you.
Have you ever heard someone's hair say you have very flirty hair?
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah.
Flirty hair.
You gotta read Teen Girl. You gotta read Teen Girl magazines. It's always in there like that, right?
It's always in there.
Flirty. All right. Okay.
Thank you, Regina.
So let's get back to the regularly scheduled programming. So tell us about this conversation you two had with someone who isn't on screen.
Oh, well, we started, I wanted to start this kind of series to add to our Patreon and some of the content that we're doing. So we're having this Primetime Saturday influencer interviews.
Oh.
And I interviewed LaLa and her husband Will about their music. They have some music coming out. They have an album that's already out, and they're about to do a European tour.
Yes.
And it was really exciting. We talked about the business of music. We talked about influences. We talked about what we think the direction for music is headed. We talked about how we engage young people into appreciating real instruments and real musicians. And so it was a really good conversation. And so I'm going to post that to our Patreon. I'm going to try to make a little snippet available for the Discord. And I think that you'll enjoy it. It's a half-hour conversation. It was really good.
I can help you with that.
Cool.
So what I need to get from you is back channel wise, get me the StreamYard link.
Will do.
And I'll be able to do that.
Yeah, but it was a great conversation. And we also talked about their writing process, because they're not just husband and wife, they're best friends. They're very much in sync. And their process is really organic. So I think people will enjoy it. I want to try and do more of these interviews with authors, independent artists. And actually, we're going to end up, when my book does come out, let LaLa interview me. So that would be nice.
LaLa's going to interview
Aisha.
Yes.
I didn't know. Okay.
I got some of the final drafts of my children's picture book, and I'm so in love with what the artist put together. So I'm excited.
I am so excited for her book.
that's who the artist, who
Her name is
referred-
Sherry Campbell, and Christy White, who's a friend of the show, introduced us.
Yes, Christy
And
White,
the book is called The Infallible Fanny Freeman.
Okay. Well, this is good. Speaking of which, Dr. Tachi, you missed it again. I just played the promo video for Indie Suit Media, but you just missed it. So if you go watch the replay of this within the first 6 or 7 minutes, I played it again, but I did tell everyone that IndieSuitMedia.tv is launching on the 25th of this month. So excited. And this is some of the content that's going to be on it in an edited version. Also, who's in the house? Fitnet's IQ Cam, evening, ladies and gentlemen. KSF EYL RWFQ FV. I won't tell you what those letters stand for. That's a whole other conversation. All right. Before we go any further, speaking about Patreon and all these things, touch base Primetime Saturday store. This is the link, and also put in the comments on everywhere that this is being watched, probably except LinkedIn. Aisha, just a quick thing. Did you get the link I DM'd you via
I
Discord?
did. I'm actually working at moving all of our stuff over to this new site. I think people are going to like the merchandise that we're going to also put there as well.
Excellent. Next up, we talked about the Patreon. That's the sort of content you're going to be able to get to it. And I believe I'll do some YouTube, we'll do some YouTube shorts on it. It sort of gives you teasers on that. And
LaLa is also going to be doing for the Patreon some finance and financial advice posts, and we're looking to do that after tax season once people get rid of all that stress from that, and then how they can prepare going forward.
All right. So LaLa, you know what? And I've got us. I don't know if it did this week or last week. I got to send you the link to Nick Nimmon's YouTube things. Really good stuff. And one of the things that I did for the first time, thank you, Nick. I got to shout out because he's great. He does 3 hours on Saturdays answering all sort of questions. I did my first YouTube live vertical.
Wow, this is so exciting.
So what I'm going to do is after we're finished, I'll DM you the link. He does a 6-minute video right to the point on how to do it. It is actually easier if you have StreamYard. It's really easy, but you can do it from your phone or your tablet easy. So I'll send you that, because when I thought about it, I said, LaLa, I know I see LaLa's YouTube numbers. I'm going, she got to boost it up a bit.
I do. And actually, I have been working this week on learning, and I've been wanting to do this for a long time, Final Cut Pro. And so my next few interviews that I am doing, they will be produced on Final Cut Pro. And I'm super excited about that.
Okay. Think about using CapCut.
I thought about it, but when we're doing music videos, like real music videos,
you know what?
Will and I gotta stick with Final Cut.
Okay, no problem. Or okay, then really and truly, then why don't you think about using DaVinci?
I thought about that,
but that's a big learning curve. It's a big learning curve.
It is. I'm doing good with this one. I'm proud of myself.
Stay where you're at. But no, I'm getting a little bit better learning of CapCut, and it's got a lot of stuff. Okay, here's an interesting thing. Nick's brother, D, who's very active, he had a Windows machine and he was running, is it Sony Vega? And he said it was always crashing.
Yeah.
And he said he was thinking about either using Adobe, or he said CapCut is clear-cut winner for him. Says so with all the stuff it provides free of charge, for free.
Yeah.
But hey, whatever works for you, works for you. And then last thing before we go into it, Discord group, Primetime with Aisha and LaLa. Email me, dr.vibe at thedrvibeshow.com. Okay, we got our appetizer.
One more thing. Because I just looked at the date. So a month from today, if you want to come see me, I'll be at NYU at the Print Symposium.
What?
It's one of the last panels, 4:30 to 6, and I'll be talking about Sheila E.'s The Glamorous Life.
I love it. I love it.
Okay. Jen, I'm doing fine also. Thank you very much. KOK, I don't know. I don't remember what KOK is, Fitness, and goes, ooh, I don't. So you put these comments. I don't know what ooh is about. Oh, okay. And she does say, no, tell them before tax season finishes, as she laughs. And actually, in the Canada space, FitNet's Cam, she does that stuff for Canadians. And Dr. Tachi says, Final Cut is great.
I love it. I love it.
It's not cheap, though.
Nope, it's not. But it also does the red camera, and it also does 360 video, which I'm really into.
I'm gonna find. I'm gonna Final Cut for my level. I think CapCut is good enough. Or really, I have interns do it. Sorry. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Okay, so let's get to first things first. And Aisha brought this to our table back channel wise. The crisis in Haiti. It's such.
Yeah.
Haiti, as long as I can remember, for the last some years, Haiti has never been stable.
No. And remember,
it's sad.
Yeah, remember a couple of years ago that their president was assassinated.
Yes.
And so that also led to a lot of the destabilization. But the issue that I really have is the U.S. response to Haiti. Here we are talking about Ukraine. We're talking about what's going on in Gaza, and the White House has been radio silent about Haiti. And the first comments were that, oh, well, we're not going to deploy any military. We're actually going to deploy the Coast Guard out there to do some stuff. But the fact of the matter is that we do have asylum laws, and people can seek asylum. And you've got Ron DeSantis in Florida. He told the National Guard to go down there and turn people away, the Haitians away. And honestly, if Joe Biden doesn't federalize the Florida National Guard, this is going to be a mess.
It is a mess. But then they're not doing anything different. In Texas and Florida in cahoots all the way across. I mean, don't forget, Texas want to put a barbed wire up for people to kill them. So this is out of control. And as last as I checked, when I grew up, this was supposed to be the great American melting pot. Right. And this is, we do have asylum for people who need asylum. You can't pick and choose who you want. So you either are or you are not. And killing people and turning people away at the border is just one of the things that I just can't get with, because I still love the notion of us being an American melting pot.
Yeah. You know, our immigration, the American view on immigration is inhumane.
Yes. Yes.
And I really take issue with people trying to keep other people out who weren't even legal immigrants themselves, their ancestors.
Yes.
You colonize someone else's land, and then you have the nerve, the audacity to say, oh, who can and cannot come. You weren't welcome to begin with.
Nope.
They were fleeing religious persecution. Now we have other people fleeing other types of persecution, and like, oh no, we don't want you here in our land. And you know what? Find an island someplace and go.
Because this wasn't yours in the first place.
This wasn't yours in the first place. How about we deport all of them?
Bet you they'd find a reason that they have to stay here anyway. I mean, everything is okay as long as it's on the other side. It's never looking at them and their history. It's always them, and never looking at how they got here in the first place.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like, and on their side, they keep talking about a civil war. I feel like at this point, the way the country is going, we need to just take that upper corner of right above California and just give it to these people. Yeah, run your own country within this country separately. You have your own laws. You won't have our tax structure. Build your own economy and just shut up.
Exactly.
You're exhausting. You're always complaining.
Well, and not only that, I mean, you do have some people now who are calling these MAGA folk are thinking that Russia and other places are better because now they want protection too. What do you think about them going and doing this in other countries and then getting the rude awakening that it is not exactly what they think it's going to be?
Mm-hmm.
There are many stories coming out of that now.
Yeah.
I have a
But
few.
but again, these are the same people who are so against DEI and then turn around and are complaining about the fact that HBCUs aren't diverse.
Right.
So I have a few questions. So
they're unserious people.
DeSantis is wanting to turn people away from Haiti, but I haven't heard him saying that about people from the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why not?
But here's the problem. Immigration is not a state law. It's federal. He has no control. That is a federal. Our immigration laws are federal. States and cities can have ways in terms of what they will allow them to get. Like in Connecticut, they allow people to get IDs and things like that, and so that they can get bank accounts and things. But the bottom line is that you don't have a right to turn people away. This is not your country. You're not President DeSantis. You're never going to be president.
He wanted it so bad.
Yeah,
Mr.
and
Puss in Boots.
I guess the white
all
boots
you're doing right
didn't
now
cut
is
it, right?
proving why no one needed to vote for you.
Right.
So
he got put in his place really quick. He had a really rude awakening. So now whatever power he has left while he is still in office, because let's not forget, he's not going to be back in next time. He's going to do as much damage as he could possibly do, and to also take as much attention as he can doing this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Regina says, I just learned today that Haiti paid 112 million francs to France in reparations from 1825 to 1947. What the heck? And don't forget how Haitians were treated when AIDS emerged in the 1980s.
Yes. Yes. All the blame was
put on them. That 112 million francs was because of the Haitian revolt with Toussaint Louverture and all those people, which is ridiculous. You're paying people, you're paying the enslavers, but guess what? We've done that here in this country too. Remember, Black folks were enslaved. Black folks, they were able to be claimed as insurance properties, like people with a car. And so if they died or got sold or whatever, our government and the banks and insurance companies were paying the slave owners.
Yep.
So let me ask, why is what's going on in Haiti of any importance to America?
It should be.
Well, first of all, because it's very close. We have a lot of Haitian immigrants here. We have a lot of Haitian people here who have
huge community.
It's the same. It's like the same question as to, well, why should people in the United States care what's going on in Israel?
Right.
I mean, no one.
So why is one more important than the other?
Right. No one ever asks that question. It's
money.
Like, oh, no, we should. But here, I mean, the other thing too is that it's a very poor country.
Yes.
But not the whole country is poor. People forget it's Port-au-Prince, the capital where the most poverty is. It's got suburban areas, okay? And remember, Haiti is on the same island as the Dominican Republic, which is part of the United States. It's a territory.
And don't forget, and I remember, this is one of these countries where Trump came in and said this was what did he call them?
An S-hole country.
Exactly. So now you've got these people who, like DeSantis and everything else, who ride piggyback on to the moon and to the stars with everything that he says. And so therefore now they don't want these people coming in. And it's based on everything else that is based on in America, which is racism.
Well, you know what's so funny? What's so funny is that you're seeing a lot of states now ban the use of Uber and Lyft because there's a requirement in certain states that they have to pay a minimum wage, a livable wage or minimum wage of 15 plus. Well, I don't know about you all, but I know here most of the people who drive taxis, because if you can't get an Uber, you're going to need a taxi. Most of the people who drive taxis here are immigrants.
Yes.
We need immigrants. The reason you want to complain about the price of eggs and food, the reason it's so high is because we don't have the immigrants to do the work that Americans think they're too bougie to do.
And it's very interesting because no one is talking about what's going down in Florida again after DeSantis did all that crap.
Mhm.
There, a lot of the reason your orange juice and everything else that comes from out of Florida is so high now is because they don't have the workers to pick them. And when they had American workers go and try to pick this stuff, even the crop growers were like, we don't know how to do it. They want to quit after 20 hours. They want to cry and moan after 2 hours, and we're just not getting it done fast enough. Well, this is a perfect example of showing you how valuable they are to our country.
Yeah. And, the farmers in Florida were saying that, the oranges are just sitting on the trees rotting.
Yep.
Because no one is there to pick them. The businesses about 2 years ago really tried to put pressure on DeSantis too, because they're like that new immigration bill that he signed. I at this point, you made the complaint like 2 years ago. Why are you not still complaining? Why are you so quiet?
That story just got squashed.
Here's the thing, us regular citizens, we're not going to make a difference on that front. But when the people who own businesses start to complain, then things will change. And so, the cost of your orange juice is high because they can't hire the immigrants, one, and two, the people at the top in the C-suites are taking these big bonuses.
That's right.
And who's paying for it? The rest of us.
That's right.
Well,
but they're making sure they're getting theirs.
So then in both of your lenses, what should the U.S. be doing in regards to the crisis in Haiti?
This is the great American melting pot. If they're going to come, give us your tired and your poor. There are protocols that are put into place for this. Enact them and make sure that they get done properly. Okay. Now I will say that I am one of these people who do believe if you're going to come here and let's do it right. Let's not try to do something that's crooked and upside down and around. Then no, you don't need to be here. But we do have the protocols and our arms should be open, and we should put all of those protocols in place to allow them to have a wonderful life.
Yeah.
Period.
And they should. And we have these packages, these foreign assistance packages coming up, and thank God for the Congressional Black Caucus, because they're wanting to amend this to say, hey, wait a second, if we're going to vote on this thing and you're going to sign it to provide aid to Ukraine and to Israel, then we also need to be sure that we're sending aid to Haiti too, because
exactly.
that is also a humanitarian issue. And not only that, but there are a lot of Americans in Haiti who cannot get out because things
That's right.
Yes, that is true. Look at the president can't even get back into the country. He hasn't been there. He hasn't been in the country in weeks.
Right. And so if we're going to say that we want to get all of American hostages and people out of Gaza, and we want to help as many Ukrainians who need to come here, then we need to be able to do the same thing for Haiti and say that, hey, we're going to help you do this, because right now the people there are fighting a losing battle. There is no structure. There is no military plan, and they don't have the weaponry or the things that they need in order to fight back against these gangs and cartels. And
that's right.
The fact that we are supplying other countries with that, all it does is reinforce the fact that we still have a race problem in this country.
Okay. Well,
surprise.
Yes, it's going to be interesting.
Our favorite meme, right?
Yeah. You should get, is that Jim Neighbors meme?
No. What is her name? Cilla Black.
Yep.
All right. So before we move on to our next conversation piece, thanks everyone who's watching. We're broadcasting live on a whole heap of platforms right now. The Dr. Vibe Show Facebook, the Dr. Vibe Show LinkedIn, Fly Nubian Queen YouTube, the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube, the Dr. Vibe Show Twitch, the Dr. Vibe Show on X, 2 LaLa channels on Facebook, Aisha on X and Aisha on Instagram. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, talk about distribution live. All right. 10 different platforms at once. Booyah! I like that. Okay, let's move forward. Okay. I guess it's going to become almost a weekly installment on this platform. Trial updates. Fire when ready.
Okay, so let's be very clear about Georgia. Let's talk about Georgia. Okay, let's be very clear. The person who's on trial is Donald Trump, not
That's
Fonnie
right.
Willis. And
that's right.
Whatever you think about her judgment in terms of this relationship, guess what? Dating one of your coworkers is not illegal. It is no matter how hard you try to spin it. And people talking about, oh, she had an affair. Donald Trump also had an affair. Fonnie Willis wasn't married. Wade wasn't married. Donald Trump was married. His wife just had a baby and he slept with a porn star, not using protection. Okay, so if you're going to talk about these value judgments, Donald Trump has been found liable for sexually assaulting a woman. He defrauded people of New York. He tried to steal an election, and then he also tried to start an insurrection. So let's be very, very, very clear here about this. I think that the judge, in his ruling, the ruling was correct in terms of her being able to stay on and him leaving. Fine. What we did not need was him to editorialize his opinion or to give his commentary. This thing, he made this quote, this odor of mendacity quote. Dude, you just created that by saying that it exists. He's talking about it's tainting the process. No, you're tainting the process with what you're saying. And
exactly.
He has a whole lot of nerve to be talking about her. He admonished her for the speech she gave at the church on Martin Luther King Day, and he has a whole lot of nerve doing that because a few weeks ago, he was on a right-wing radio show.
Yes.
Himself. Also, too, let's be very clear, the language that he used in that report was deliberate because guess who is running for an election this year? Him. And he needs the Republican support. So
that's right.
And
it all boils down to where he's going to get his hand greased.
Yep. And he is a Republican. So while your ruling was fine, all you had to do is say, hey, this is what I'm deciding. This is the law behind it. Boom, bang, there it is. We didn't need your opinions and your theorizing about different. Why? And it's no different than what Hur did with Biden and the thing. And they caught him up this week in the congressional hearing. Because they're like, why did you need to say, you didn't need to say that? Well, this is what I thought. But then pages later, you're saying that he's got this brilliant memory. So what is it? I need for our judges, if you're going to be a judge, if you're going to be a special prosecutor, you need to stop being political, period. And if you're going to be political, let us know up front so that people can get rid of you.
Yeah, because that's all it is. He wanted a little bit of limelight so he can get some attention on him so that he can get accolades. Yay, look at what he did. So that he can get back in office.
He's worried about her. What he needs to be worried about is his hairline. That dude is 35 years old and is balding like he's 73. Worry about that edge up, bruh.
Just saying. I just think it's disgusting because they really are truly trying to this is Fonnie's not the issue. You just wasted precious time. And that's what exactly y'all wanted to do in the first place. You wanted to try to make a Black woman look bad, period. But what you did is actually called your own selves out by not knowing anything about our culture. I mean, the one that still gets me is this, and you have cash? Bruh, yeah. Well, we keep cash everywhere. Yeah. We don't trust all these banks. We were never taught to trust these banks. And when we did trust the banks, what happened? Y'all came and closed the banks on us. And many of the history books, come over and took all our money, took all our land and everything. So why wouldn't we keep cash?
We saw what happened in Tulsa, Black Wall Street. Not only that, but there were many banks who would not allow Black people to have accounts. So James Brown used to bury his money in his backyard.
Yes.
Aretha Franklin kept a lot of money in her bra.
Yes, she did.
So this isn't
in her purse too.
Yeah. So this isn't an anomaly. Okay. The the main issue I have with this is how it's being handled in the media. People are like, well, she did this and it was whatnot. When are you going to say what Trump did in terms of cheating on his wife is wrong?
Thank you.
When are we going to say? When are we going to say that? You're talking about? Oh wait. When are we going to talk about the fact that he tried to steal an election is wrong? Because honestly, her having a relationship with him did not cost the Georgia taxpayers anything. It did not disenfranchise anyone from voting. It did not. She did not steal money. And when you go down this rabbit hole, I made the mistake because I'm like, on Roku now I have access to AON. I made the mistake of my finger got stuck on the channel, and I see the craziness that those people are listening to.
Yeah.
Do you know that somebody reported that she paid Wade $700,000?
Yes.
Now let me ask you this question: what person in their right mind is going to pay the special prosecutor more than they pay themselves? That's the first thing. Second thing, they didn't even watch the trial, because if you watch the hearings, what you found out was that the payment was really, really low. The former governor of Georgia refused to take it for two reasons. One, because of the political climate, and he didn't want to look over his shoulder the whole time. And two, it just didn't pay enough. Yeah. So if anyone else was refusing to take it because it didn't pay enough, I promise you, it wasn't $700,000. And you people are just upset because of a $3,500 trip.
Because they can't stand it. They can't stand to see us winning. They can't stand to see us winning. Period.
Yeah, but they're doing so much winning over there. They've lost every election since 2016.
Just trying to say.
So just some comments here.
So much winning.
The quote, "The odor of mendacity," unquote, was so biased. Regina
yes,
says.
And it also has a racial tinge to it, because of the stereotypes about Black people don't smell good and this and that kind of thing, right?
A tinge, Aisha. I bet you put it so politely.
I'm being nice because I'm still focused on his hairline, but yeah. So he went that far. He didn't have to.
Wow. All right. So
I'm still focused on it. He's 35. My grandfather is in his late 80s and has more hair than that.
All right. So JJ Mars says, "Hey, hello, I'm late." Well, it's good to have you here, JJ Mars. Always ask when he's on a live in any of my platforms how weather is in Colorado. He says, lots of snow, but it's melting. So that's a good thing. And look who's in the house. What's up, Michelle Hayward? Good to have you here. And
hey,
also,
girl,
Regina goes, but without the Supreme Court ruling, could they have proceeded with the Georgia case?
Well, the Supreme Court has no jurisdiction over the Georgia case because it is a state case. He broke a state law. Remember that elections are run by states.
Okay. All right. And Michelle says, "Hey, y'all," and also says, "Black people use wash clothes and spread our cheeks when we wash, but don't we smell good?"
I'm sorry, but the one thing that surprised me over a quarantine was to learn that there are certain people who don't wash their legs.
Yeah, that shocked me. I wasn't ready for that.
I swear to God,
I'm traumatized.
I learned more about people who do not bathe during quarantine than I ever needed to know.
I also learned a lot getting into the Airbnb stuff.
Chicken, okay? They also don't wash their chicken.
They don't wash their chicken. But the things that I have learned about what some people do and use Airbnbs to do them with is pretty nasty.
Nope. That's why I hate going to hotels, because all you need is some luminol and a black light, and the place is going to light up.
OMG. Oh, so, but in the end, though, didn't 45 win, though? Because he has taken a chink from Fanny's armor.
He got
delays.
No. But guess what? There are 18 other defendants. It was going to take a long time anyway. The thing that he did do, though, was so discord between them, because him delaying these things for him is denying the other people their due process. They want their trials to come faster rather than later. And remember, too, she got four people to plead guilty. That's where this came from. And we have to be very, very, very clear as to the fact that, remember, this is not the first thing of a quote unquote affair they tried to throw at her. Remember before they said that she had a relationship with somebody in Young Thug's gang when she's prosecuting for the other RICO case.
Yes.
It just did not stick. And I'm really pissed too at Andrew Weissman, who's a commentator on MSNBC. He's also a professor of law at NYU, and what he said about her thinking that she should recuse herself because of how this looks. I'm sorry, Andrew Weissman, but if I recall correctly, in 2018, you were one of the people who helped write the Mueller report, and you all botched the hell out of that.
Yeah.
You gave it to Barr. Barr spun it before you could even talk about it. You didn't hold a press conference. You didn't prep Bob Mueller for his testimony. You found that there was Russian interference in order to help Trump, and that people on his side were in touch with them, and you still did not bring a prosecution to him. Guess what? We wouldn't even be in this place where Fani Willis had to prosecute him for stealing an election, because if you did your job in 2018, charge this man, he wouldn't have been able to run in 2020, and this would be done and over with. So
exactly,
passing the buck, there's a lot of blame to hand around in all of this, and it shouldn't just all fall on her shoulders.
Yeah, exactly. But then again, that's what they want from us anyway. They have no idea that the weight of the world is definitely on a Black woman's shoulders at all time. And this is
wanting us to save democracy come November. You're going to dodge us all year, and then October 25th, be like, oh, we need you to save democracy. You know what? And I proposed this on Twitter. I said, you know what? As Black women, what we should do is that whole voting day, not show up to the polls and just let them be all nervous and worried. Then the last 2 hours of voting, show up. Because I think that some people need to
Wouldn't that be something?
Some people need to be nervous.
All right. Well, Michelle, this I was surprised people thought that swimming was the same thing as bathing.
Yeah.
Dr. Tachi says, and this is why we don't like potluck.
Exactly. For some reason, they seem to think that the brown comes off.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me. If you ever talk to someone who really just doesn't understand Black people, I've had people explain this to me in a way where they think that when we go home, we take off our Black skin, literally.
Yeah.
They act like we choose to be. They act like it's a choice, and we're making it. Yes. When people were saying things like that, I'm like, it blew my mind, because they don't realize that when we're amongst ourselves, we don't really have to talk about race. When they're amongst themselves, they always do.
Constantly.
Okay.
We just don't care about y'all that much.
Michelle says, I'll be Lysoling and Clorox wiping my hotel rooms.
Yep. You need more than that.
Yep. Absolutely. So this Georgia trial, so Aisha, I know you keep your ear to the ground on this. What's the next steps in it? Oh, okay. No. Before that, do you think Fanny's going to leave the case?
No.
He
didn't say she had to. Why should she? Guess what? Here's the next phase. He made that woman mad.
Oh, and he has no idea what
you ever want to do, ever,
is to make a Black woman mad.
This is how you know Black women are mad. If a Black woman starts a conversation and says, I'm going to tell you what you're not going to do.
Yes.
Know that this is not going to end well for you. It's not.
No.
And Fani Willis, when she said, I'm not the one on trial, she said,
meant that.
Let me tell you what I'm not going to do, what we're not going to do. She said it. So,
and she made it a point to be heard.
And he needs to be careful, because guess what? They haven't gotten their discovery yet. So she has stuff that he doesn't even know about.
Yep.
Trust and believe. Because remember, it took her a year and a half to do the indictment. They were collecting data and evidence. They thought that they did something this week. You come for Black women like that, it's all over. She's gonna light the place on fire.
She really is.
Okay. Well, this trial side. Any other updates?
I felt that in her when she was on the stand. I felt that. I'm like,
I couldn't tear away from it. It was that riveting because it's the first time I've actually seen somebody be very seated and rooted in her. Come at me. Go ahead and ask me. Oh, I don't have to answer that, Judge. That's okay. I want to. That to me says a whole lot more than they anticipated. They don't know what to take now. They really don't know what is getting ready to hit them.
Look, Trump's talking about giving vengeance. Nobody gets revenge on somebody like a Black woman. We get down and dirty with it. So
no,
he needs to be very scared. Now, the other thing is the trial in New York is getting pushed back.
Of course.
Yes.
But once again, the commentators on TV are blaming Alvin Bragg. It's not Bragg's fault. You know that, right? It's not his fault. It's guess who we're really mad at, people? Merrick Garland. DOJ a year ago, Alvin Bragg's office asked for the information for the data, the discovery. He kept asking. Merrick Garland got off his lazy ass this week and gave it to them. And so now they have to kick it back because even Alvin Bragg's office hasn't had a chance to go through that discovery. So they're like, we need 30 days to go through this. We've been asking for it. We just got it. But the spin the media is giving is making him seem incompetent when the incompetent one is Merrick Garland. Like, dude, what is your point and why are you still here? You have screwed up everything in terms of how we hold that man accountable. And guess what? You're still not going to get on the Supreme Court. So give up the ghost on that one.
Okay. Well, the trial gate keeps on going strong in America.
Don't forget Eileen Cannon.
Yes. I saw that she ruled against 45.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I bet you he is like livid.
Yeah, but her ruling against him was kind of like, yeah, I'm not going to decide on that now, but if you propose it again later, I might change my mind. But yeah, but so people saying that he actually won the week in terms of his trials. Honestly, no, he hasn't.
No,
because guess what? They don't know what that information is that Alvin Bragg now has, and the DOJ has sent over. So he might have gotten a delay for a month, but what's in the evidence might be worse. And he probably should have asked to go ahead on the 25th so they couldn't introduce any more evidence. And like I said, Fani is going to light the place on fire.
Okay. I can't wait.
Okay.
Remember, they came for her. Don't come for me unless I send for you.
That's right.
She's coming for them.
So LaLa, your video is frozen. Like I know.
Is it? Oh, let me drop out and come back.
No problem, because I know you got your flirty hair and you're showing your flirty hair to us. We want to see you blink. You need to blink.
I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. So she'll be right back, and we'll get into our next conversation. And welcome everyone who's watching live or on the replay. If you're watching live, there's so many different places you can watch live. We thank you for taking the time. And you can also listen on replay here. Before we get to our next conversation piece.
You're gonna do it.
There we go. LaLa's flirty hair. Why do I feel there's going to be a hashtag soon for that? Hashtag LaLa flirty hair. I think that's the new hashtag of the day. So let's get to our next conversation piece. Speaking about 45, he's taken over the Republican National Committee.
Wait, I'm gonna need LaLa over here for this one. Can we go to commercial?
You want to go to commercial?
Yes, because I need her here for this because we talked about this. I need her.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna speak. We're gonna get LaLa back. We're gonna go to a commercial. Hopefully, in the next 2 minutes, we will get LaLa back. And obviously, if Aisha wants LaLa in on this one, you know something's up. like Alvin Bragg and Fannie Willis have stuff they haven't brought up, well, obviously these two's got something going on. So we'll be back in 2 minutes. Keep it locked.
And that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harriet Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm one of the Harriet Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like, I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. No, really, the rappers get all the attention. Seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Over like the twerkers and the just people that don't always represent the best of us, the diversity, like people like Dr. Vibe. Like, everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr. Vibe he's trying to do good work for Black people. Dr. Vibe from Toronto, good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe, everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. The men who are also doing the same thing. I see Dr. Vibe in here. He's a great brother. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. He's a smart brother in Canada, and we need to follow smart people. So follow Dr. Vibe. If you see him in the chat, and Dr. Vibe, say your name in the chat so people can see you. I want you to click on his name, and I want you to go follow him, please, because I want these men and women that are doing the right things to get the support they deserve. Hey, Dr. Vibe, how you doing, brother? Again, like I always do, I got to say, everybody should go follow Dr. Vibe. He's got a great show. Dr. Vibe, I know Dr. Vibe's got a kingdom because I see your channel. I see you pouring into that every day. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. Look him up, Dr. Vibe, V-I-B-E. He's a great friend of me and my wife, and I love this guy. Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. A lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. Helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
All right. We are back. Primetime Saturday with Aisha and LaLa, who's not back with us yet. Broadcasting live on March 16th. So you may have to go to the next conversation piece on your own, Aisha. But Michelle said, keep me on from that last conversation piece. I agree. Fannie is going to use her persecution to fuel the case against 45.
Oh yeah. And I think if Donald Trump ever wants to really know what's coming his way, he needs to ask a Black man who pissed off a Black woman in the wrong way. Because they'll know. They'll be able to tell you, nah. Things are about to get a little crazy.
Well,
never
go ahead.
And I'm just like, you know what? I can't wait. And guess what? It's going to be on TV too, because they allow cameras in the courtroom in Georgia. So looking forward to that. But I doubt, here's how I think about the trials.
She's blinking. She's flirty. Hashtag flirty hair is blinking.
But I was saying, I don't think that any of these trials is going to happen before or come to any kind of conclusion before November. So the onus once again falls on us, specifically Black women, to make sure that we get out there and vote.
All right. So LaLa, before you left, I was going to do the next conversation topic, introduce it, but your partner in crime says, no, I can't do it without her. So we waited for hashtag flirty hair LaLa to come back. And here's our next conversation piece. 45 officially takes over the Republican National Committee. Now I see why you wanted her back. That's already telling me. Go ahead.
There's not a Republican Party anymore.
There's no Republican Party anymore.
We have Democrats and MAGA. That's it.
He has put his daughter-in-law over the RNC. And the things that they have already lined up for us sounds like some kind of horror movie. First of all, soon as they got this chick in there, they fired 60 people. And the staff that they fired were mostly the people who ran the community centers in the African American communities, in the Asian communities, and in the Hispanic communities. And what they said was, well, we didn't really close those. We're just making room for the new things that we're doing. I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn.
They got rid of all of their DEI initiatives. But here's the thing. You can't on one hand say that Donald Trump is making inroads with Black people and then turn around and say that you're not going to court Black people. You're being ridiculous at this point, and I can't take you seriously. And
the first thing they did after that was beef up their legal counsel.
Yep. And they redirected all of the funds to his court cases. Now, let's be clear. These national committees, you've got the DNC, the RNC, their job, their sole purpose is to raise money for Democrats in competitive races or Republicans in competitive races. The money is not supposed to go just to one person. It's supposed to be spread around to help make these races more competitive and get your people in there and change elections. By doing this, all of the money that they will be people will be going to his legal fees. There will be no money
Nothing.
for down-ballot races. So I don't know how on one side of their mouth they're going to talk about, we're going to win back the Senate and the House when you're giving all the money to Donald Trump. How are they going to? Basically, where the candidates?
This is his history. He gets out of every damn thing. The freaking casinos. Everybody comes and bails his legal fees out. So now he's done it in the political arena. This is so sickening. My stomach is hurting so bad right now. I'm so angry. I'm so angry about this whole thing. This is so in your face. This is what we're doing, and you're going to sit back and take it and swallow it. Okay, because now not only that, they've also decided they're going to rearrange on how you're going to be able to mail in your votes. Please.
Could you imagine if Joe Biden put Hunter in charge of the DNC?
Oh my God.
The heads that would explode on the right?
They still trying to trip him up.
Can you imagine that?
No.
I don't even know how they're letting this fly. The nepotism with this guy in the political arena is sickening. I don't understand why we're not calling this out. And then Jared over here he's got more deals coming up.
Billions. Now, I didn't say M, I said billions of money coming in off of the back of the presidency.
Yes. And I do not understand why. It's like, how do we get to this point where we're giving Republicans such an easy pass on this? This is ridiculous. And
I don't know how we got here. I thought we had, oh Lord, I don't know. I know how we got here and I don't know how we got here. What year are we talking about? We're in 2024. Everything has gone backwards. The pride in America is gone. It's gone. Everybody is out for themselves and what you can do for me. Okay. I won't even touch Janet Jackson's song on that one because I don't want to diminish her in any kind of way. But this is sickening. America, to me, it's going to have to, and I've said this, it's going to have to burn all the way down before we can even see any kind of resurrection in what we have done to her.
Yeah.
Okay. Some comments here. Michelle says, I knew they were going to take all the money for the RNC. This move by 45 will determine many of the races.
Yep.
Yes.
And then also some questions from our family here. Regina asks, what will the Republicans who are not MAGA supporters do now 45 and the RNC are one and the same?
They better wake up.
Well, some people,
they better wake up.
Some of Haley's voters are going to vote for Joe Biden, but the bottom line is that the rest of them will just stay home.
They will, yes.
Or they will vote the down ballot races and leave the presidential one blank.
Okay. Michelle asks, can Dems win Mississippi, South Carolina, and Alabama now?
No. I lived and worked in South Carolina. I worked for a legislative commission there. It's not going to happen.
Okay. Then two
Look,
comments.
They had one or two Black senators in the 1800s, and they were like, we're never doing this again.
So JG Mars says both GOP and Dems still have not offered any real policy for Black Americans, in my opinion. And Michelle says, JG Mars, I completely agree with you. Well, from my lens, the reason why is they don't need to.
Right. Well, here's the other thing too.
Well, the Republicans don't need to.
And while I agree, what are those policies what are the policies? Because I'm not, it's not JJ Mars. It's people like Charlamagne the God that I'm saying when I respond to who makes these comments in his amphibian looking self, making these comments about these kinds of things. But dude, well, what specific policies do you want? What do you want?
All right.
Well, he can't say. No. And that's the thing. He likes to spew garbage, but he has no answers or suggestions. You know, suggestions are just as good if you're going to make some stupid blanket comment like that. Well, what are your suggestions, idiot?
Right. And it's like, well, what about the George Floyd Policing Act? Well, guess what? It did pass in the House. It was put it this way, it wasn't Joe Biden, it was Tim Scott, a Black man in the Senate who went and whipped up those votes against it. It was sabotage by one of our skin folk. That's why that law never got signed. And let's be very clear, if Tim Scott gets anywhere near the White House as vice president, he will sell all of us into slavery.
He sure will.
He will.
He sure will. And I can see that in my head just as clear as day.
All right. JG Mars says Biden just totally lied on TV that Black wealth was up 60%. Well, if he said that, that is certainly not true.
Was it? But
I didn't hear him say that.
What are the determinants of wealth? When they say these things, you have to ask the questions. And I say this as someone who is embedded in, studied, and has done a lot of research studies, and I watch the polls. What did they use to determine what wealth was? Did they mean wealth as in terms of cash on hand? Did they mean it in terms of home ownership? Did they mean it in terms of retirement funds or 401ks or what? I want to know what the wealth, what the marker was.
What the context, more context on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the RNC, it's basically they're just like they're at Las Vegas. They've put all their chips.
It's MAGA. It's dead. It's MAGA. And they're going to tap it until it's completely dead of any kind of money at all.
Yeah. And you know what? And remember, they're taking their playbook. They're not taking, people are, they're taking their playbook from Russia. No, they're not. They're taking their playbook from the Dixiecrats.
Yes.
This is nothing but what the Dixiecrats tried to do in the 1948 election when Strom.
That is right. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
So what happens to the RNC if 45 loses this election coming up in November?
To hell with them. Let them fall and let them burn. I don't care.
They're going to descend into total and utter chaos. Because
they're going to eat their own young.
Yeah, there are no adults driving that ship.
No.
So
that is nothing but a money pit for them to tap into when it's all gone and you have nothing left. They're going to eat their young.
And the further along we get into this MAGA era that we're in, the more ridiculous the candidates that they nominate are. Like this one guy, wherever Trump was today, like North Carolina or whatever, the guy who, he was LGBTQ supportive before he wasn't. And then all of a sudden this thing about him, Tinder or Bumble or whatever, finds that he was soliciting sexual favors from men, but then had his intern say that, no, I did it as a prank. It just reeks. Okay.
But see, they all think we're stupid.
Mm-hmm. And the Democrats have a way of holding our politicians accountable to a fault. So I'm talking, remember, John Edwards, Elliot Spitzer, Anthony Weiner.
Oh my God, I forgot about him.
Kwame Kilpatrick and Rob Blagojevich. We got rid of all of them. Okay.
Yeah, but Kwame has resurfaced, and I think he's a 45 supporter.
Kwame went to jail.
Surprise, surprise.
But yeah, I know something tells. I'll look up on that because I heard his name and
There's an episode of American Greed.
American Greed. I saw that. I saw that.
Him and his mistress did or whatever.
I saw that.
I missed that one. I'm gotta go look at that one up.
American. See, and just out of curiosity, is American Greed is still on?
Mm-hmm.
I can't get it.
And if you have Roku, they have a whole channel.
Okay, I need to because I miss that show immensely. Is Stacey Key still narrating?
Really
narration?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because sometimes when I can't sleep at night or I just need sound in the background, I either leave on American Greed or Dateline.
There was also a show in the what was the gentleman's name? Paul Winfield. He did a narration.
Oh, I know it is City Confidential. Me and my dad love that show.
Whenever I can catch repeats of that, I am all in on that.
Yeah, me and my dad love that show.
Show was on point.
Let me tell you, I saw some good Datelines. Look, I couldn't sleep last night around 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I was up watching Dateline from 2 a.m.
Okay, JG Mars, we have such great family here. He said it.
Yes, he did.
45 pardoned Kwame. That's why I knew I heard they said he's looking or begging for a job from 45.
There you go.
A few months ago, I said
we also got rid of Ray Nagin, who was the mayor of New Orleans for doing the same stuff that Kwame Kilpatrick did. And so it's like, I thought
so. Thank you, JG Mars, because I said, where did I hear Kwame in the last few months? I said he pardoned him. That's a little while back. All right. Well, let's continue on. Now, I didn't know about this story till late this week. Oh, wow. So there seems to be a resurgence in hate for Kamala Harris. Now, before we go any further, for those who may not know, there was quite a interesting op-ed written in the Washington
someone who doesn't need to be talking.
Okay, this week, written by Kathleen Parker. I'll read some of it.
Before you do that, can I just give a little bit of background about Kathleen Parker? Kathleen Parker. Go ahead,
it's your show. I'm just reading the article.
She's also the so-called journalist who wrote an op-ed basically saying that the shooting of Trayvon Martin was justified. Okay, so that tells you that she's not a serious person.
Okay, so I'm going to read the title of the article is called "For the Country's Sake, Vice President Harris Should Step Aside," written by Kathleen Parker. I'm just going to read a few paragraphs. The Democratic Party's indulgence of identity politics has proved successful in building a diverse organization, but its strategy courting and pandering to minority voters is the road to ruin.
Pandering. Okay, that tells you where she is in her head.
All right. So in 2020, Joe Biden's promised to tap a woman as his vice president, along with Rep. James E. Clyburn's election-altering endorsement of South Carolina paved Biden's way to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, otherwise known as the White House. His quote history-making selection of the telegenic, and you know what she means by that.
Mm-hmm.
Kamala D. Harris might prove to be his downfall in 2024, and he has had enough fall downs to make his voters worry. Harris's resume was impressive. A former California Attorney General and sitting U.S. Senator. She seemed to have been created by central casting, or was it artificial intelligence?
Okay. Can we just stop? Can we just stop here? I read the article. So I can't endure any more of it. But here's what I'm going to say. She's running her mouth about this stuff. When you need to be concerned about is the 53% of your skin folk, white women who voted for Donald Trump. That's what you need to be concerned about. How about you stay out of our business and handle your own?
That's right.
These people are so good at telling us what we need to do, but they don't check their own people.
That's right.
Well,
women lost a fundamental right, and 53% of white women are going to vote for that man again.
Yeah.
So I think that it's interesting, and I'm not
black men like Charlemagne the God piling on. Him and Stephen A. Smith did this whole thing. I don't take Charlemagne the God seriously. He looks like Kermit. He's always
Jeez,
like,
don't on that
He
again.
does look like Kermit.
he's an amphibian, and he's also he's also throwing stones. Dude, you were accused of rape.
Yes.
Why are you
All
talking?
Okay,
Why are you
well,
talking? And that's my biggest problem with Kathleen Parker too, is that these people are talking when they shouldn't be talking about things they shouldn't be talking about. Mind your business. Leave Black women alone.
But that's what they're good at. They like to throw up smoke screens. And we live in a society now where all you have to do is whisper something that's wrong. Remember the whisper game when we were kids, and you say something to someone and it goes down the line, and then by the time it gets to the final person, it's so blown up and wrong that everybody can't believe just how out of whack it is. But that is exactly what is going on in our society now. All you have to do is say something like, pss, 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 and the next thing you know, it's blown up as it's a truth. And this lady needs to sit her little self on down. And like Aisha said, call your own folk out before you come at us.
And the other part too is that, you've got a whole bunch, who jumped on that bandwagon with her were white men on the magazine.
Yes.
Oh, well, what has she done? What has she done? I'm like, you people are really stupid, first of all. Second of all you have to do is search the vp.gov website. Everything she does, every place she goes, it's listed there. Stop being intellectually lazy.
Yeah.
And look it
but
up.
Nobody wants to do the research. They just want to take what they see in the newspapers or said on these TV shows, and no one ever does the deep research
or they
on where it came from, or even notice that this was just an opinion. This was her opinion. This is not fact.
And I respond. Someone said something to my response about this, and he said something about Kamala, and he gave me his little opinion. I'm like, you know what? You take ivermectin, you're irrelevant to me.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch.
Somebody else, another Trump person said something else. I'm like, go drink bleach.
Wow.
Well,
and you
Trump told them to do it.
Exactly. And that's my point. You have to fight them with the very things that their people say, And
they did it.
And he said, and then they were talking about, abortion is this and this and this. I said, I wish your mother would have rethought that decision she made.
Oh, you didn't go there.
You've got to go after them the way that they come after. And that's my disappointment with Democrats.
Yeah.
So let me ask, Aisha, you've been fired up about this. Why is it cutting you so hard?
Well, you know what? I was going to vote for Kamala in the primary. It just so happened she dropped out before the Connecticut primary. I liked her platform, but also too, the thing that bothers me is that on the left, you have people saying that they need to get rid of her because they want a white woman.
Yeah.
Let's be very clear. They want a white woman. And on the right, they are trying to use her as a boogeyman. Be very afraid of the black person because Joe Biden could die and then we'll have Kamala Harris and then what'll happen to us then? You know what? America might put itself in check at that point.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. No one gets a house together like a black mama.
You better say that again. You better say it again, because that is nothing but the truth. We can make a hot dog stretch for a whole week.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they're upset about. Punishments will rain down. People will be put into punishment. People will have to do the job. Because I'm sorry, I remember my black mama and how if we got out of sorts, she was. I
had one woman in my whole life. Just one.
I am a black mother. Let me tell you something. When my daughter used to act up when she was little, I'd like, do we need to go and have an attitude adjustment?
Or the look. That's all I need.
Okay, so both of you have given a number of reasons why this article is not justified. What do many Americans have issue with when it comes to Kamala Harris?
They think that their opinions matter. Period.
There you go. She is a person of color, so therefore they feel that they can step in and say whatever they want to say. As long as somebody does not look like them, they are going to have an issue with us. And let's not forget, don't forget, we're still being punished for having a black president.
And this goes back to something I said on this show and other shows over and over and over again. All of their lives, and even in all of our lives up until 2008, we were told there will never be a black president in our lifetime.
Nope.
Period. We were told that, we believed it. They were told that, they believed it. That is the only thing that had remained that was in place for white people. Barack Obama gets elected, and look, because guess what? You can be wealthy and become white man and become president. Hell, you can be a white man who grows up in a trailer park whose mother's on crack and you need extensive dental surgery, and you can still become president.
That's right.
But if you're black, you can't. And the thing that bothered them is that when in 2008, that proved not to be true. Mm-hmm. And then after that, they pinned their hopes on the vice president. Well, at least we'll still have the vice presidency. 2020, there we go. And now,
and they can't stand it. That's too close.
Right,
it's too close. They don't want it no more.
Here's the thing: when you're used to having privilege, equity and equality feels like oppression. Mm-hmm. And that is what they're responding to.
Yeah.
You're on mute, Dr. Bob. You're muted.
Sorry about that. No problem. Let's see another comment here. JG Mars. Kamala lost a lot of support from Black Americans when she said she was not going to do anything specifically for Black folks, and she stuck to her word.
I'm sorry, but I need you to cite that quote, because when I saw that was something that somebody like Charlemagne attributed to her, and it wasn't true.
Okay. All right. So Kamala, man, she's never had it easy, has she?
Mm-mm. No. And while I do have some issues with her, I don't believe that any of this is warranted.
Mm-mm. No, none of the hate is warranted. If you're going to criticize her policies, criticize her policies. If you're going to criticize her work,
and that's where I have issues in some of the policies.
But the problem that I have, the problem I have with the hate for her is that none of it is centered around the policies.
No.
None of it is centered around her work. It's all centered around the fact that she's Black and she's female. And they use a whole bunch of different kinds of coded language in order to make it seem like they're talking about policy, but they're not.
JJ Mars says there's a ton of videos on YouTube of her saying it. Also, Michelle Hare says when you're being centered, seeing others being centered makes you feel ignored.
I like that.
And then he goes, I was about to say blink, blink, LaLa, but you had your eyes closed, LaLa. That's so funny. So, Michelle, you're a joker. You're a joker, Michelle. You're a joker. It's great to have you here. All right, let's go to our next conversation piece. James Crumbly, father of Michigan school gunman convicted of manslaughter. LaLa, you wanted to chat about this one. Go for it.
I do. I am all for it. If you are going to, the man did everything he could to set all of this up. He did absolutely everything wrong. In the fact that if you know your child has mental issues, why on earth would you even begin to think that giving this child with mental issues a gun is ever a good idea? This man is just as guilty as his son going out and killing these children. And so therefore, I think it is the right decision to charge these parents when it's appropriate like this. You know, I feel a little differently, like if the gun was locked up, if it was in a locked up case or whatever like that, and a parent really took the time to protect that gun from being in the wrong hands, that's a little different to me, because I'm not against gun ownership. I never have been, but I am all for responsibility. And this was the absolute worst case, best case of showing you of irresponsibility of what he did. So I am happy to see that these parents are going to be punished for what they've done. They're just as guilty. And I'm all for it. If the whole gun thing, guys, is never going to go away. And this is what frightens me. We're going to talk about something else later, but this also can tie into that, in the fact that you've got so many people in Congress that refuse to see this as a serious issue and protect our children, that we can't even get 50% of a vote for people to come in and vote against violence against guns. Yet you can have them all come in, 81% come in and vote on a TikTok thing. This is where our country is falling down and failing our children. And if we can't get this under control, we're not going to have any children to carry on the generations. And that's just how I feel about it. I'm very happy that this came down the way that it did.
Yeah. Well, before I comment on this, just one thing. JJ Mars, look up the LIFT Act. That was Kamala Harris's proposal for reparations for Black people. And the comments that were made to her about that is what she got backlash from. And it was from Black people. But apart from that, this is what should happen. I'm sorry. If you're going to give your child a gun and they go and they shoot up people, then you should be held accountable for it, because guess what? They didn't buy that gun on their own. Nope. They have the money to buy it. You bought it for them. And when your kid says that they're going to shoot people and you don't take them seriously and they shoot and kill people, you should be held accountable. Don't you know, if the mother of the mother of the young man who shot up a school here in Connecticut, who shot up Sandy Hook, hadn't bought him the guns, he wouldn't have had the means to kill those 20 kids and their 6 teachers.
That's right.
And you know what her reward for doing that for him was? He shot her first.
Yeah.
So I think this was justified. The mother got sentenced. His trial was faster than hers.
Yes.
It was like 2 days. Done.
It sure was. They didn't waste any time. And this shows that people are sick of this.
They got the jury, they presented the case, and they got a verdict in 2 days. And I'm like, yeah, and this is what should happen. Guess what? I don't understand why people are upset about this, because the Black mother whose kid had shot at a teacher and the bullet grazed the teacher, she got jail time.
Yes, she did.
If you're going to
this is the way that it's going to have to go. This is exactly where it's going to have to go.
If you're going to raise these little serial mass killers, then you need to be held accountable for them. It's a reflection of your parenting skills. I'm sorry. Period.
And are they saying, like 15 years piece?
Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry.
Not enough.
How is it that the rest of us don't have kids that go and shoot up schools? It's a failure of your parenting.
That's right. They literally put the gun in his hand.
Exactly.
They gave it to him.
I think it's irresponsible for anyone to teach a toddler how to shoot a gun. You can't trust a toddler to pee straight in the toilet. Why would you trust them with a gun and think that they're not going to shoot anybody?
This is what was one of the things that was extremely frightening to me in Florida, is in Melbourne, where we live, there are many shooting ranges that are family friendly, and they have 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds coming in. They've got them plastered on the front like this is a wonderful thing. We're teaching them how to shoot. And when you watch them, you can just see them trying to. And there was actual case of a child that ended up shooting someone in one of these ranges.
Well, you know what? You know when they'll do something about this is when Black parents start taking their kids to their shooting ranges and buying.
Perfect example was Louisville with that.
And buying their kids guns. Then we'll see some gun control.
Exactly. Because especially when they're responsible and they are activists for their rights as gun-toting people as well. But yet they show up in droves, freaked Louisville out so bad they didn't know what to do with themselves. They set up all sorts of barriers like we was going to come in from the Wild Wild West. Which, by the way, I must say that this past week was the anniversary of Breonna Taylor.
Yeah. I mean, please tell me why you are more afraid of a Black 5-year-old with a gun than you are of a 17-year-old white kid wearing a trench coat and an AR-15.
Yeah.
You should be equally scared. I'm sorry, but there are times when someone posed this question too about violence on Twitter today and saying, are you more afraid of Black people than you are of white people in terms of who can kill you or whatever? And I'm like, I'm sorry, but the last time I checked, the last 100 or so mass shooters did not look like me. And I am a good one for walking out of a store or walking out of establishment. If I see somebody, a young white male especially, come in and he doesn't look right,
I gotta go.
That creeps me out. Let me tell you something. This was a couple of years ago. My family went to a Cheesecake Factory on a Sunday in July. And this young 15-year-old white teenage male came in wearing a winter coat. I told my family, I said, you can go in there if you want to. I'm staying out here. I'm not going. I don't trust that dude wearing a winter coat, and it's 92 degrees outside.
Yeah, something ain't right with that picture.
Something, yeah. Like Keith Sweat said, something just ain't right.
Yeah, I mean,
Mr. Sweat.
I mean, put it this way: those people in Charleston, they felt for a minute safe that they invited that man in to pray with them. And how did he repay them? He murdered them.
Yeah. Which is, death is.
It was odd. They thought it was odd that he came to their church because, on Bible study, they rarely come to our Bible study, but they welcomed him in anyway.
And embraced him.
And what bothers me is I'm kind of wondering if they all had that gut level feeling like this is really weird. Should we be doing this? Should we not? And that's what happens. And so we've got to be very clear. I think white America needs to deal with the fact that young white men have some kind of problem that you have to figure out what it is, where the first thing that they think in terms of how they're going to handle being bullied or not getting what they want or whatever by picking up an assault rifle and murdering as many people as they can at one time. They talk about us and Black people having a violent pathology. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. One last conversation topic, and we were discussing before we went live. Should we put this at the beginning or the end? But it's at the end. But I think I think the ladies have enough energy to go at this one because this is being talked about so much in America over the last 2 weeks. Should TikTok be banned in America? So there's a legislation in the House of Representatives that passed by a pretty large amount.
Yeah, it did.
Now it's to the Senate. So I'm going to ask LaLa first because she's a social media maven. Should TikTok be banned?
Only if Facebook and Instagram is going to.
It should be
because they're not doing anything different than what Zuck is doing. So I have an issue with this in that manner. And how dare you, America, try to tell somebody of a foreign nationality what to do with their company? You can't just tell these people they got to sell something just because you want them to. This is none of your business. Okay, fine. If you want to ban it on government phones, fine. Now, listen, I'm not a huge TikToker. I'm not. I like Instagram. I like Facebook. I like Snapchat. But, and yes, I still like Snapchat because they have the best filters. But for you to do this is absolutely showing your white privilege in the fact, and you think that America, once again, is the say all be all. You cannot tell other countries what to do. Now, if you're going to do that with TikTok, and you need to do it with Facebook and Instagram, but how about you also look at these other Chinese companies that are over in America doing the same thing in different industries. Why are you not calling them out? So I have a serious problem with this in the first place. First of all, you need to know what to call it besides the tickety top.
Right.
And two, go ahead.
But the whole thing is that America needs to stop acting like we are the president of the world.
Because we are not.
We're not. We would be so pissed off if China told us that we couldn't do such and such in their country with our businesses. Okay. Feelings would be hurt. If you're worried about it getting into the hands of the Chinese government under Xi, all you have to do, regulation. But the problem is that the regulation, you're so far behind.
Yes.
In terms of regulating social media, your go-to is like, oh, if we just ban it, the whole problem goes away.
It's not, because you've got a lot of people who have built businesses on this platform.
Yeah, we'll see the economy tank if they do that. But here's the part for me that is most disturbing, more disturbing than anything. They are willing to violate the First Amendment of 170 million Americans.
Yes.
Remember, TikTok is a medium that operates very similar to the media, which means we have a First Amendment right to say what we want to say and to do what we want to do with it on this platform.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that they're going to be able to do this and not face lawsuits over the First Amendment. This is a First Amendment issue. This is a First Amendment issue more than it is a business issue.
Yeah, it really is.
So I
have to say, it's a credible place to go when you know where to go. I'm not even gonna lie. There are many times that I know that I can follow certain people and know that I can get the truth, and they're big on TikTok. So if I hear something and I go, wait a minute, what's going on? I can go to their accounts and get the truth. Yes, there's a lot of butt shaking and rear jumping and all that stuff on there too, and that serves whatever somebody else's purpose. That ain't for me. But I do go for many other things. I mean, there are many times that I learn things. I'm educated on things that I didn't know about. And it's because we have that platform to go to and share this information with others. Let's not get this twisted. That is what they are afraid of.
Right. Right. And
so, go ahead.
There's of all the things that the government could have thought to take up this week, they're focusing on this. It would be, you all didn't even do this when you knew that Russia was interfering in Facebook with the election.
No.
What happened with those? Remember when they brought Mark Zuckerberg to Congress for those hearings about the Russian interference? Why didn't you ban Facebook then?
Exactly. And then the way that they treated, now don't mind you, they made it look like Zuck was in the hot seat, but he wasn't really in the hot seat because it wasn't the same type of questioning that they gave my man.
They were asking that man. To postulate on what the government of China thinks. He's like, I'm a businessman. What are you talking about? I have nothing to do with these people. But no, Mark Zuckerberg didn't even barely apologize. No, he didn't even apologize to those families whose kids were had committed suicide and stuff because of the things. He said, I'm sorry you had to go through. He said, I'm sorry that you had to go through that, or you felt you had to go through that, or whatever. But that's not an apology. It was in a way that's like, I'm sorry that our platform did that, but it's like, I'm sorry you went through what you went through. What?
Yeah, I'm sorry that you feel that way.
I'm just gonna put some things out in the air here. One of the things is, in China, you can't use Google, Facebook, etc. Next thing is, it's very interesting to see where the energies of government in the United States seem to be unified on.
Exactly.
Because last I checked, there's a huge poverty problem in the United States.
Yeah. And we don't have a budget.
Yes, exactly. They did another continuing resolution, which means in a few weeks they have to still go back on this whole budget thing.
We don't have a budget, but 81% Let this sink in. 81% went in for this vote on TikTok.
Yeah.
We never get 81% of people voting.
Right. So that's another thing. And really and truly, if it's truly a free speech country, if people want to use it, they'll use it. If they don't want to use it, they'll use it. So here's another question. Do people trust, like every app collects information?
Of course.
Hello.
And now cookies are going away.
Right. Every app uses information. So my question is, do the American government trust these companies like Facebook, Google with the information more than they trust the Chinese government?
What they need to be afraid of, rather than worrying about TikTok, is whether or not Russia actually has access to our federal websites, because Donald Trump was very, very loose in terms of what he shared with people. And now he actually said that instead of this whole TikTok thing, what they need to do is have hearings this week as to whether or not Donald Trump should get access to classified secrets again.
Thank you.
Let's discuss that first, because that is a bigger threat to our country than this.
Thank you.
But I think, LaLa, both you bring up really good points. And interesting, LaLa, we don't hear the U.S. government pushing back on Chinese takeover of so many different things.
Nope. Nope.
Like, didn't a Chinese company buy U.S. steel? If I'm not mistaken.
I do believe so.
But you don't hear anything here.
No.
We don't complain about the cars we get from overseas.
No,
we don't complain about the fact that 90% of the products that they sell in Walmart come from China.
Exactly. And if you're older like me, you remember that Walmart used to pride themselves. Their whole motto was "Made in America." And as soon as Sam Walton croaked, them kids said, "Nope, come on, China."
Okay, so
you know what? They're not even banning Temu.
No,
there you go.
That should be banned.
Okay, and
that should be totally banned.
And you know what's really interesting about that? And I'm gonna totally open. I bought something from Temu just to see the process. I'm getting spam messages on my cell phone saying, "Oh, your package has arrived." This has never happened. This never happened before I used Temu. Now I'm getting them.
I'm getting it too, but it's not because I use Temu. It's because I use something else. I'm getting, "Oh, you got to go pick up your U.S. postal package." Well, guess what? How come they can't do with that?
Okay. So here's a few comments. JG Mark says it's mainly a smokescreen to divert Americans from more pressing issues they should be looking into.
Bingo.
Michelle says Facebook has been surveillance for the U.S. government since 2012. Facebook is not seen as a threat, but a tool. And then Michelle.
Well, guess what? There's the other thing that they should have discussed before TikTok. You're concerned about TikTok. You're not concerned about all these daggone government contracts that Elon Musk has about.
Thank you.
With American and our federal government's information. Really?
And yet they're giving him awards.
they gave that man the Ruth Bader Ginsburg Award. I know that.
And her family came out and said, no.
That'd be like giving the Rosa Parks Award to David Duke.
Thank you.
So Michelle says U.S. steel was bought by a Chinese company, and then she says no, Nippon Steel is actually Japanese. But I think that it's just so interesting. You said 81%, LaLa?
81%.
That's probably the most united the American Congress has been.
That is the most united.
Since Since the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah. Right.
But I don't like it's a China thing, obviously.
How about they check us, because we just as guilty.
But here's the thing. Here's the confusing part, I think, for regular Americans who aren't as steeped into politics as we are. They're concerned about, China, China getting information. China controls most of the debt in the United States.
Thank you.
We can't get rid of China.
Thank you
we can't cut them out of anything. How do you balance that?
You don't.
And
another thing, I can tell you for a fact There are many, many, many communities in Los Angeles where the Chinese have come and they've purchased all these properties. No one lives in them. No one. They hire somebody to cut the grass. They hire somebody to wash the windows, but nobody lives there. This is an issue. And I'm telling you, things are being lined up the way they want them to line up. All it's going to take is one drop of let's do this, and then it's over.
Well, what happens if this passes and it's signed into law, and then China flips the script and says, "Oh, okay, you're telling us that we have to either sell it or you ban it"? I want to call on our debt right now. Pay up.
Exactly.
What is to stop them from doing that?
Nothing.
Look, that would be like having a home mortgage and you go into the bank and saying to the bank, yeah, I kind of don't want you to do this anymore. I kind of want you to take off these fees on my checking account. And like, oh, you want us to do this? Well, guess what? Give us your pay the mortgage up. We'll get out of your business. Pay up the mortgage.
So let's say the Chinese government has access to that information. Is that a big deal in either one of your lenses?
We had spy balloons last year. They already have access to the information.
They have everything they want.
Look, and here's how bad. Remember, we started talking about the Mueller report. Here's how bad they screwed it up. In that report, they talked about the information that they already had.
Yeah,
well, what if they get this? What if they get that? They got it already. All this hand-wringing and pearl clutching is ridiculous.
So JJ Marr says, I think the Chinese are trying to purchase property in Detroit recently. That may be true, but you know who owns who's buying up property in Detroit like crazy? Is it Illich? Is he the owner of the Detroit Tigers or some? But there's
Detroit
some
Lions.
Detroit Lions or something. Well, I think that's the Ford family, but it's Illich. I think he owns the Detroit Tigers. But I guess the thing is, who do you trust least, right?
I don't trust lions or tigers or bears.
I don't trust none of them. I don't trust our government. I don't trust their government. I don't trust nobody's government.
That sounds like I was speaking to LaLa right on the streets of Kentucky. I just felt like I was on the streets of Louisville speaking to LaLa right there. OMG. Yeah, I think, but the thing is, I don't know if this will actually pass though. I don't know because it's.
Oh no, I think it will.
I do. They just need 60 votes in the Senate. Wow. You know, every Republican's going to vote for it, which means they will only need 10 Democrats.
Unless Donald Trump says he'll do it.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, they already got 2.
45 did say that he didn't think this is right. 45 said he didn't. He used to be pro this, and now I just heard recently 45 is saying no, he doesn't think it's a good thing.
But the only reason that he doesn't think it's a good thing is because someone told him, guess what? A lot of your followers support you and post things on TikTok.
Follow the money.
You might need TikTok for the election.
Follow the money. So, hey, look at this. Big dreamer. Greg Walker says he owns Little Caesars Pizza. So yeah, I think that's a gem. Mike, he's based in Detroit. He owns Little Caesars Pizza. And why would Big Dreamer know? Well, for a while back, there was a time where Big Dreamer owned, was it over 130 Subway restaurants in Ohio?
Wow.
He retired in his early to mid 30s.
Nice.
You know, Subway's headquarters used to be in Connecticut.
There you go. And JG Marr says long-term investments, but good seeing big dreamer in here. But yeah, I think the energy is so, I think that 81% LaLa says a lot.
It does.
Where the government,
it's a frightening number, because this to me tells me exactly where we stand with our country and the people we have hired to be there.
And it's very important to look at the split in terms of who didn't vote for it. Most of the people who didn't vote for it were on the younger side.
Yeah. Three Toes didn't vote for it.
Oh, she needs TikTok. Where else is she gonna go and make her crazy QAnon videos? Where?
Exactly.
Oh, MG. Well, this will be very interesting because I think if this goes through, it's going to be interesting to see, will this become an election issue? And also there's rumor. Did you hear who's rumored to wanting to buy TikTok if this goes through?
Mnuchin.
Steve Mnuchin.
Which kind of makes me wonder why they introduced this bill in the first place, because he was the first person to jump at it. And I'm kind of like, wait a second, this feels like a setup. Out of the frying pan into the fryer. But here's the other part of it. If they pass this law, I promise you, within the first 30 days, they're going to see a whole lot of lawsuits that are going to go to the Supreme Court because it's going to be challenged on this issue of the First Amendment.
Well, now that's going to be interesting. Some of the people of that age deciding on social media.
But here's the thing, because TikTok provides news and information source.
Yes.
Our First Amendment specifically says we have a right to a free press. They would be infringing upon that right. And so I expect the lawsuits to be forthcoming.
Oh, they will be. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, they will be.
And to be perfectly honest, I think that might actually be the only thing that you'll ever see unanimously decided by our SCOTUS.
Yeah, which tells you a lot.
I think, LaLa, I think that's one of your new taglines.
Hashtag
flirty hair tells you a lot segment.
Yeah.
Flirty hairs tell you a lot segment. I like.
I'm telling you.
Maybe you need to make that as part of your
t-shirt line.
Another t-shirt line and another segment on the Patreon content. Flirty hairs takes. All right. Well, love you right back, Greg Walker. You can find him on Instagram. I think it's the real Greg Walker, I believe, that you are on Instagram. But yeah, and he amazing guy. If you have a chance, I've had some conversations with him on my Dr. Vibe Show platform. Haven't chatted with him in a while, so I think it's time to get him back. But just a really amazing young gentleman, a great family man. Huge family man.
We didn't have a good story to end.
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. All right. So go for it.
Well, I just want to, this is more of to give praise. This Wednesday, my best friend lives in Maryland. She came back because her niece was starring in a production of The Wiz at Co-op High School in New Haven. And it was so good. I've seen The Wiz so many different times on Broadway. My cousin even starred in it. But it was so good. I remember that little girl being really a toddler. I did not know that she could sing that way. Oh my gosh. It was so good. And it was such an interesting take that the directors talked about celebrating Black joy and respecting the fact that we're all on stolen lands. And then they made the entire set out of paper.
I love it.
It was
creative.
It was amazing. And my favorite part was the fact that they cast the Cowardly Lion as a female.
All right.
I love it.
It was really good. And the choreography was really good because one of the choreographers used to be my dance teacher when I was a kid. And so it was really nice to see that.
Nice way to end off the conversation. Love it. All right, family. We's done. We got through a lot, but there's a lot always to get through. And we always leave stuff on the table, which you catch on the Patreon channel with 10 on 10, by the way. All right. That's it. That's a wrap. So, ladies, thank you again for taking the most important thing you have in your life, time, for us. But you know what? People want to know how to get a hold of you. Y'all, since we're doing Kentucky for a second. The flirty-haired Kentuckian.
Where should change my handle to that?
Where can people get a hold
find me? You can find me at Living the LaLa Life on all social media platforms. I would love to tell you that I'm doing good on X, but they won't let me back in. But you can find me everywhere else.
All right, good stuff. Aisha K?
You can find me on Instagram at AK Staggers. I do check my Twitter from time to time. It's at Aisha Staggers. But definitely reach out to me on the Discord group.
Wonderful. All right, family, that is it. And if you want to get hold of me, a few things. The drvibeshow.com website, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, the space dr period space vibe space show, Instagram at the drvibeshow, X at drvibeshow, and email dr period vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Also want to make you aware you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and then you can watch it also on the website, the drvibeshow.com. All right, few last things I'm just going to show these quick on screen because on a number of the platforms that you're watching this, the information is there, but there's some of them it isn't. There's the link for Primetime Saturday's show store. There's the link for the Patreon. Please join. And then finally, join the Discord group. Lots of stuff going on down there. And also subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. There we go. The Dr. Vibe Show. And again, finally, to advertise your business, product, or service with me, email me dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Got one more comment. Let's see who chimed in here. Great conversation, Jen. Thank you, fan number one, right from the beginning. Jen is in the house. All right, let's end it off. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourself grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith. Walk good.